I've been feeling myself come back to me lately. Pieces on the ground. Somehow I finally found joy is all around. I hear love's perfect sound. I'm never by myself. Eternally grateful for help.
Give me the paint, give me the chalk, give me the urban artist talk. Conversations from the heart, from the start we set apart. Art a la carte, now check it.
So excited. Welcome back to another episode of Urban Artist Talk. I'm your host, Andre Jamora, aka Natty Rebel, and we're doing it. We're doing it big. This is like our 6th, 7th episode. Oh man, so we got so many more in store for you, but today we have a very special edition. I've had the opportunity of working with this artist for the past 5, maybe 6 years, painted several murals. Not only is she an amazing artist, muralist, she's also a songwriter, singer, producer, manaman, as they say in Ethiopia. The list goes on and on. You know, welcome no other than the great and wonderful Miss Zoe Boston.
Hi. Thank you.
What's going on?
Man, life is happening. Great to be here.
Great to be here. As Sierra says, life just keeps lifing.
It does.
Yeah, man.
It does. Just keep rolling with the punches. Keep showing up.
You got to show up. You got to roll with the punches. You got to be present. And just, you know, I feel like life is just about problem solving.
It is, which is also a creative thing.
That's why I love being an artist.
Yeah.
Because being an artist, especially a painter, is about problem solving. You're trying to figure out how to make something look like it's supposed to, or at least recognizable to the average eye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I also recently I feel like I've also seen problems as like, I don't know, it's like if you can reverse engineer a problem, you'll find the solution. Like there's a solution in the problem. There's always a solution. It's almost like you have to almost like recognize the pattern in it and like, okay, yeah, just reverse engineer a problem.
Oh my goodness.
The solution's in there.
Because
always.
That is, you know, getting back to the origin of where it started.
Exactly.
And once you can conquer that beast or
like
see...
there's a math equation in there somewhere.
Oh my goodness, please. Once you figure it out, let me know.
I will.
But no, it's so much truth in that. And I feel like a lot of us wrestle with trying to get back to the origin of the problem and even just dealing with ourselves and identifying like, you know, ourselves as a part of that issue or that blockage, you know, that we consider a problem.
Definitely.
Yeah, man. So let's jump right into it. What did we want to start? Oh my goodness. Well, where I would like to start with you, and I know pieces of the puzzle, but some of the audience might know. Where did your creativity spawn from? When did you realize you were a creative being?
I've always been creative since I was born. Even when I was younger, I would like draw, and my mom would notice that like my drawings looked more advanced and more detailed than like the average, I don't know, 6-year-old or whatever I was doing. And it's just a way of life for me.
Yeah. Always
been drawing, singing, making noise, expressing myself in different ways, doing the best too. And just continue to grow and evolve. Obviously. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So have you always been singing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was I singing before? I was definitely singing before I was painting. I was drawing and singing at the same time. But it was just a lot of unrefined expression, a lot of noise and playing with vocal cords and seeing how things sounded. I didn't really even come to know a lot of singers till I got older. Yeah. And I was like, oh, wait, I could do this. Wait a minute. Oh, that's how you do that? Wait, let me practice that. Oh my God, that sounded so good. Let me try that.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. Just on what you said, you know, you were singing before you were painting or drawing, but, you know, as a parent and watching children develop, I think those are, you know, two of like the first things that you do as a young person, as a little person, is like draw, you know, as far as expression, you know, because the way you had said it is just like, you know, you didn't know what you were doing, but children don't know what they're doing, right, but they're creating, they're singing, they're shouting, You know, I have a 4-year-old at home that, you know, he has to sing everything that he does. So
Aw.
like, you know, I'm going to the bathroom.
I love that.
And it's just like, okay, all right, I'm glad you're, you know, and, you know, it's just that expressive, you know, way of just, you know, being creative.
Just getting it out.
Getting it out.
Not holding on to it. Just like,
Yeah.
this is life.
Yeah. So when did you realize, I guess, you know, more into your adulthood that you wanted to pursue the life of an artist?
Oh.
Or was it even a choice?
You know, it's just been an evolution, but after I moved out here, which is actually 10 years ago this year, I came out here to visit. While I was here, at the end of my trip, it was like a 2-week trip, I decided I wasn't going back to New York. So I started over, and I started over with paint. And that was when I started falling in love with it. And then I was mentored by this lady for a few years and learned a lot of things. And that's when I first, I think, saw it as a possibility. It was like, oh, I could really do this and make money off of this and feel fulfilled and, you know, not burnt out and really in my lane. Yeah, and then meeting the Bay Area Mural Program, or coming into the Bay Area Mural Program. It's like, oh, we could do this. There's community here. Like, oh, there's a network here. Like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, man. And even with that, I want to, you know, dive back into your singing, but, you know, your artistic career as a, you know, visual artist, you know, I've seen develop over the years, but what was one of the first definitive projects that, you know, you can remember that stood out to you that was like, yeah, I have support, I have community, I have what I need to.
That's the thing. I know it's there too. Okay, let me think for a second. How many years ago?
Well, let me back up and let me start with this beautiful painting that we have here on the wall.
Yeah.
So this painting I acquired from Zoe in 2018. I don't have the biggest collection of artwork, but I do take pride in the small collection that I do have. And let me express why. As an artist myself, a lot of times I look at artwork and I'm like, oh, I can do that. Or, you know, I could do something similar to that. So I'm not going to pay money for it. I'm not going to, you know, put it in my space when I know I could have some of my own artwork up on the wall. When I got this piece right here from you, when I even asked you for it, I think you had hesitation, but I just knew that there was just some magic within this piece, and more importantly, magic within you.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did this piece as a live painting. It was a bunch of us. It was an early BAMP gathering, I think. Was that before Whole Foods?
It was right before.
Right before Whole
Foods. We were talking about it still.
So before even our first BAMP team mural, we did a live performance out at, what was that? Travis's 4th of July party out there by the lake up there.
It was at the lake.
Yep. By the.
It was, I don't know, was it that event? It was something similar.
I feel like it was, yeah.
One of the holidays.
One of those. But they asked us to do a live painting performance. So we had, what was it, probably like 6 or 7 artists. It was myself, you, Rachel Wolf, Tiferet was there, Shido was there.
Oh,
wow. Sorry if I'm forgetting you, but yeah, it was.
Tim there? I don't know.
I'm not sure. No, I don't think so. So this must have been after Art Clash. Wow. In between Art Clash and Whole Foods.
Yep.
So backing up, we were trying to recall the other day, when was the first time we met? Did we even remember?
I already knew you, but I don't know. I think that was like the first time we all came together was at the Art Clash.
Art Clash was monumental.
Yeah.
So Art Clash 2018.
I think it was like July or June.
Yep.
2018. So
Art Clash was, man, there's so many layers to it. Art Clash was so amazing in so many different ways. Because one, I put on the Art Clash because I wanted to be a part of an art competition and didn't know how to go about doing it. I was like, oh man. And I saw art battle in the city and liked the way that, matter of fact, I even competed in the art battle in San Francisco. And I was like, okay, that's cool. We need something for Oakland, but something that's not like 20 minutes of just like hardcore painting and picking a winner. I was like, let's have the people choose and we'll let people paint for like 6 hours. I wanted to be in something like that, and I put it on. And as we were putting it on, I was like, oh, I can't participate in this. I'm actually hosting this. So it was great seeing the amount of people that came out. I think we had like 20 some painters. It was the first time seeing you paint. Even if we did know each other, I hadn't seen you paint before. So we're going to put that in the books. It was you, Timothy B, Shido, Zoe,
Rachel.
Rachel.
Oh, I think her name is Yasmin.
Yasmin, who came in second place because you came in third place that year. Shout out to Rachel. She came in first place. But yeah, so many artists that we got to meet and just build a connection and community with at that event. Like, I can't even put into words how pivotal that was for not only just BAMP, but I would say just for like so many artists in the Oakland Bay Area to just feel like, yeah, even as individuals, I feel like people are like, okay, this is, I got something, and people see who I am and know that I can do this. I feel like even seeing other artists work was inspiring.
It was. It was. I was like, wow, I have so much to learn. This is amazing.
I felt that way as well too. And then just having the vendors, it was, I knew Langston. I asked Langston to host it. That was the first time really working with Langston at an event. He did an amazing job. Shout out to King Langbang for just bringing the vendors out and just having real community support. It wasn't a lot of people that showed up as far as an audience, but we did auction off all the pieces. You came in third place that year, which was amazing. And then fast forward to this amazing painting right here. I remember trying to keep the momentum going. I was like, all right, let's do a live painting. Hundreds, if not thousands of people were at the event. This painting was done in a couple of hours. And I think it was the speed with which you did it that really motivated me the most, because you had put it was layers to it.
Yeah.
It was just so many layers to this painting, as far as like the background, the clouds, the mountains, your speech, your language that you had put into that with the gold paint, that I was just like, this is an amazing piece. I would love to, have this as a part of the collection.
Yeah.
And speak to the language. So you have your own, what is this? What do we call this?
What do we call it? Life glyphs? I don't know. There's just, it's like represents the unknown. It represents supernatural. It represents divine energy that lives inside of us and comes out through different mediums, whether it's prayer or singing or speaking. It just represents that connection to divine in whatever form I put it in. Yeah. I have some specific symbols that represent different things, but for the most part, I like to keep it freehand, because I feel like it represents that being in that moment of having that, like, what's the word? I'm trying to think what the word is, but just like when you're in the moment and like letting yourself be a vessel versus like thinking too hard about it and making it fit into something. It's just, it's always this like freehand.
Yeah, just very impromptu. Just, I feel you. And then can you describe, what you were thinking, or where were you? I know this is a 6-year-old painting, but, can you recall what inspired this piece?
Man, I think I was definitely going through, I've been going through things, but I think I was going through like a challenging time of transition and just reminding myself of like who I was. Like, if you look closely, there's the silhouette of the person in there. It was me at the time. This silhouette has like a high top when I had my hair. Like,
I remember that.
So just reminding myself, like, even while going through like the valleys, like you still are connected to divine, and the sky is still blue, and there's more out there to see, and just the importance of like continuing on the journey and to keep going. It's usually It's usually what I like to show through my art, but that's definitely what I was thinking about. And also, I was like, how do I paint this quickly? Yeah.
No, for like an hour, 2 hour painting, like you did an amazing job.
Thank you.
And I love how you were able to connect the two worlds of, art and painting with, your singing in this piece right here. Just, giving the amplified voice, almost more, attention than even the person in this piece. And as an amazing portrait painter, yeah, I know that, you do amazing, people and, expressions, and to paint people as so insignificant, it can be a challenge for portrait artists.
Definitely. I think too, it's like understated. It's because this person is so small near this valley and these rocky mountains and like these song or prayers coming out, and it looks like maybe it's echoing through the valley. It kind of still emphasizes the person, even though you can't see who they are or the details of them. It's like, oh, this is quite profound. Like all this is coming from this person who's floating on this edge of this rock in the middle of the valley. Like, yeah.
So that was 2018. Wow, 6 years.
Wow.
Have passed since this piece. And then just slowly progressing forward. So a few months later was Whole Foods. That was our very first team piece. Do you remember what part you worked on in Whole Foods?
I don't think I actually worked on it.
No, you weren't at Whole Foods?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
I think I joined like shortly after officially.
See, now that makes me question the timeline. Was Art Clash before or after? It had to be before.
Yeah. I did apply for that one. That was what it was. I applied as an individual artist. And I made it to the second round. And then you guys won. That's all. Then I was like, oh, if you can't beat them, join them. Like, okay, you got to join them. Okay. We're better as a team.
I remember at that time, because, you were already working as a muralist. And I was just like, she's an amazing artist. And shout out to, all the individuals that BAMP has worked with, like their journey, just the amazing work that has come from, your hands and just, everything that you've done with BAMP and then as an individual. And I remember during that time, I was just kind of like, I want people to help and participate with BAMP, but yes, please do your own thing. And I think that's one of the things that I really appreciate and valued about the Bay is that although you might be a competition with other artists, we still know how to support and work together. And, I think that's, I lived and worked in a lot of cities and that hasn't been the case. So the Bay is definitely special and got my love for that reason right there, just the camaraderie.
I love that about the Bay. It's just like, because you can do a lot by yourself, but like to really achieve anything great, you need a team of people.
You really do.
You really do. So yeah, I'm glad that.
Let's see. Oh, I have so many amazing Zoe Boston stories. I'm trying to think of what was my favorite or even just most memorable. So I do remember we were the first muralist to do a mural inside of what was it? Not the African American Museum.
Oh, the MoMA.
Moad. The Moad.
Moad, yeah.
Yes. We were the first muralists to actually paint a mural on the walls in the Museum of African Diaspora in San Francisco. Shout outs to us.
Yeah, that was really cool. That was really cool. It's like, wow.
You want to talk about that piece and that moment? Because we actually even got to talk on a panel afterwards.
We did.
Shout out to the twins, Melanie Malore over at the African American Cultural Complex, AAACC. Yes. Shout out to them. And that moment.
Yeah. Wow. I remember they were like, we're looking for, someone with more feminine energy to like display this. And they had asked me to paint a cowrie show for the altar. section of the exhibit.
Yes.
I was like, of course I would do that. And as I'm doing it, I'm just like, wow, like this is really cool. Like they made it known that we're the first muralists in there to it's like, oh, we should do this more often.
Yeah.
It's very I just felt really proud and just like really grateful to be around the like-minded artists that I was around. And to be able to talk about it after was really cool. And yeah, it was just a moment like, oh wow, okay, we're on our way. This is really cool.
Yeah, Karen Seneferu was there. I think Brother Malik. Like I said, Melanie Malore. Shout out to African American Arts Culture Complex. Just make sure I got that right on camera. Yeah, because they were really pivotal in just even getting us in as muralists to paint on the wall. Because, of course, you know, they didn't want anything directly on the wall, as a lot of, you know, galleries do. But Melanie and Malora were really insistent on just having that shrine and the altar and the Kyrie Show piece, the flowers, you know, actually right there on the wall. So, you know, once again, shout out to them.
Yeah.
Then what else? Can you recall your favorite BAMP moment? What was your favorite mural project?
Oh, one of them I remember. I think it was when I had first moved downtown. We did the Kapor Center. I feel like that was one of the first times that well, not one of the first, but like it was a intentionally or more intentional curated piece, and we all got to work together. And that was the first time I actually met Kalani. I was like, oh wow, you know, just like working with Ignacia and Shido and coming together on that. That was a lot of fun. Something memorable. I'm trying to think. I know there's more. I'm like, what else did we do before then?
That was so that's like 2020. That's like the pandemic. So yeah, that was a powerful piece. The Kapor Center, Justice for Our Ancestors. Matter of fact, right above your head, this was a mock-up. Shido had did the centerpiece. Kalani Ware did the flower designs on the left side. Brother Aaron Batia did the crown patterns on the right side. Hella Future did the flower pattern on the bottom. And then you had put the woman on the right. What did it say? I know it had some of your writing with some actual...
Oh, was there? I think it was all like freehand.
It was all glyphs?
I remember correctly.
I remember the piece, and it's still there.
It is.
Shout out to the Kapor Center for keeping it up there, because pandemic 2020, that's when that piece was done. It's on plywood. That was a time when like all of downtown Oakland was plied up. It was civil unrest because of the George Floyd and the police brutality, which led into the pandemic. So all of downtown was boarded up because they didn't want to, you know, they didn't want people breaking into their windows. And artists fled to downtown to just paint up all the plywood as a form of expression in response to the police brutality, to what was going on with the pandemic, the injustice just around the country and around the world. So I felt like that was a really powerful piece that was done. And it's still up there to this day, 2024, 4 years later. And a lot of pieces, especially in the last year, have been graffitied and tagged up. But that piece is still running. So the community really respects that piece. And we appreciate you for it.
Yes.
Oh, and also the Kapor Center, because it's on plywood. So even after the pandemic, they took down, or the city, most all the businesses downtown took down their plywood. The Kapor Center had the option of taking down that plywood because they have cubicles that get good sunlight right there.
Wow.
So they had the option of taking that plywood down, and they didn't.
That means a lot.
Yeah.
Wow. So
the community really loves that piece. So thank you, community of Oakland.
Thank you.
Yes. What else? So that was a powerful piece. Oh.
I really enjoyed the piece I did with Kalani at 7th West.
Yes,
that
the
was
collaboration.
Also a mural, yeah.
Yes.
That was really cool. What year was that? Was that the same year? I don't even.
Man.
It's all a blur, to be honest.
It's all a blur.
I know there's earlier ones too.
So 7th West is where, shout out to 7th West, a lot of the folks over there for just allowing us to hold space, events. We've done a few murals over there. And yes, you and Kalani Ware did that amazing piece of the woman breathing out. I think I got a sticker of it somewhere, like a little reflective sticker
Yeah.
with Kalani's ocean and flowers. Yeah, that was a magical piece.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was a joy to create. I think it could show at the finished. It was like, oh, wow. It just had this energy, resonated.
How was it working with Kalani?
It was great. It was amazing. That was our first time ever working with him one-on-one. I was a little nervous, which is funny because I'm just like, oh, new people, like, oh my God, what do I expect? But he's the sweetest person. He's like attention to detail, and he really cares about his craft and what he's doing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed working on that project. It was fun.
Yeah, nice.
Great energy. Yeah.
Have you had any other collaborations that you really enjoyed working with? Any other artists?
Probably. Let me think.
We'll come back to it. I'm going to jump into, 2018, you came in third place at the Art Clash where we all met. That one was down in the lot in West Oakland. The second one that we had, Tracy Williams won. That was at 7th West as well, too. That's what made me jump to it because we were on topic of 7th West. So shout out to 7th West. And then shout out to Tracy Williams for killing it that year. Then 2022, I want to say, was our third Art Clash. Yeah,
that sounds right.
And I would love for you to tell a story because you weren't even going to be in it initially.
I wasn't.
So what happened?
Man, I don't know. I was, again, going through my things. I think I messaged Langston the morning of. And I was like, is it too late to join? He was like, no, just show up. You just got to show up. I'm like, okay. You got to get here at a certain time. I'm like, okay. I just decided the morning of, I was like, I'm just going to go into it and just enjoy the day.
Yeah.
Just vibe out. Honestly, like, it was nice to win, but like my goal was just to enjoy the moment and be present. And it worked in my favor. I'm like, oh, I need to do that more often. Just be present. Just be present in the moment.
I think we had, in my memory, we had pretty much had started like letting people know, just kind of like promoting and advertising who was going to be at the Art Clash the week before. So I know there was a host of people that had signed up that were mad to see you come in and see that you were going to be a part.
Sorry, you guys. I'm sorry. Yeah.
And, no shade and, no bad feelings. It was not rigged. Basically, it is, because I know some people are like, oh, but she's a part of BAM. We've made sure at all art clashes that the people are the jury. So we put buckets out by the artists. Then we have usually 20 artists at each art clash. Put a bucket by their canvas. So while they're painting, if people are going to be there the whole entire time, they can hold on to their voting ticket until the end of the show. If they got to leave, they can, put it in before they leave. But each person that comes in gets one vote and can drop it in any bucket of their choice. The whole venue, everybody there gets to see who's dropping in what. So pretty much when you won, it was unanimous decision. And I remember being one of the ones, because we had a team of people counting the votes as well. And it was like very unanimous that your piece. What did you paint that year?
It was a woman. She was, oh my God, there was something in her hand. I'm trying to remember. It was light I think she was like holding a portal.
Okay.
It was like this blue scale. She almost looked like a deity. Like it was just like this regal, like, I don't know. It just had a presence to it again. And I just wanted to show that. I think I named it like Infinite Possibilities or something like that, to where it's just like she was holding the power to change anything in her hand. And so it was really fun.
Yeah. So you won first prize. As always, do you remember who got your piece?
I'm trying to remember her name. I remember her face.
You remember her face. So shout out to whoever. Because it went for a couple hundred.
Went for 1,000.
Went for 1,000 in the auction.
For 1,000.
See, and I think that was one of the most amazing parts of the Art Clash is that each year, all of the pieces sold. And I remember the first year, it was like $50 entry fee. And it was even surprised to see people signed up and paid the $50, but it also showed me that you really believed in yourself. So that's why we had the $50 artist fee. The second and third year, we had sponsorship. Shout out to Square. Shout out to Amazon for allowing us to waive the artist fee from everybody and make the event free for all participants. So we had more numbers the second and third year. And let's see. Yeah, I just remember that, it was a unanimous decision, but also that, there was a point I was trying to make. I was going somewhere down the rabbit hole.
Everyone sold their pieces.
Everyone sold their pieces. So yes, yours went for 1,000, but all of the other pieces did sell, which was amazing. And it just showed that, the community was there to support. The artists that participated, actually, believed in themselves, and it paid off. So even the years prior, when people paid the $50 entry fee, they still made it back in the auction. So you made $1,000 for winning first prize, $1,000 for the auction. So that was a good day.
It was a great day.
Oh man!
Yeah,
and you wasn't even going to do it.
Exactly. I was just like, wow, this is great. I need to just be in the moment more, not think too hard, just do things.
With that, can you speak to for all the young artists out there, or people that are just kind of like pursuing their passion, their craft, and having challenges, obstacles, as we all do, what keeps you going?
Oh man. What keeps me going? I don't know. There's a fire in me that just won't go out. So even if I want to quit, I can't. It's maybe a purpose-driven fire. But sometimes too, sometimes we need to dial back and give a proper perspective to the situations we're in.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get wrapped up in, whatever is day to day and forget that we have this good thing over here we could tap into, or this situation over here to tap into, and just staying present and showing up to which I still deal with.
It's tough.
Sometimes just showing up is just that'd be the advice. Don't quit. It's never really as bad as it feels. When you're in those moments of feeling overwhelmed or you can't do it, focus on what you do have and develop that more. Don't forget the power you have.
Well, you're very powerful.
Thank you.
Let's see what else. So even within your power, what is your definition of success?
Oh, my personal one, or just in general?
Do you consider yourself successful?
I do. I've more recently been thinking about that because it's been 10 years out here, and just reflecting on the last 10 years and thinking about what I wanted when I came out here. And I feel like I'm definitely not where I want to be, but a lot further than when I started.
Yeah.
I have community, which I was reminded of earlier this year, and I have a freedom. It comes with challenges, but at the end of the day, my time is mine, and that's something that is not as common, especially right now in the state of life of people. But what else? Yeah, I just feel successful. I feel like I've broken generational curses. I feel like I've broken different cycles of things as well, and just really looking at wow, you really have accomplished some of the things that you really want to do. So yeah.
Awesome. That's what's up. Oh man, I want to get into your music, but one more moment that really stood out to me was Buena Vista. I don't want to go past Buena Vista. I feel like seeing you, supported by Iggs. Shout out to Iggs for helping out on that project.
And you.
Huh?
And you, shout out to you.
Well, thank you. But just, seeing, I remember there's a drone shot of us up on the scaffolding when it was done. That, was a successful moment in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Just seeing you lead that project and, just kind of give direction and just dial in, specific parts and, just be a supporting cast was really just it's one of the things I live for. Like, I love painting by myself. But then now that I'm older, assisting and working with other artists, one, just to see how other people work and get inspired. And then two, it's the problem solving aspect as well too. Just like, oh wow, let me see if I can assist to make a Zoe Boston hummingbird look like a Zoe Boston hummingbird, or So yeah, can you speak a little bit to that project, the process, the
Man, yeah. I would honestly, I would say first of all, in general, like mural painting, especially on a larger scale, it's it forces you to grow. Like
Yeah.
each project forces you to grow because each one is slightly different. Goes back to problem solving. Each one has its own unique obstacles that you figure out how to still get the idea across and maneuver it within the landscape of that particular space. But that was amazing. I remember just being up there and just like, wow, I'm just really sitting up here. Like I felt like we're just in our little tree house off to the side and just seeing the cars go by. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. The view. I had to face fears. People think I'm not afraid of heights because I'm constantly up high, but no, like the thought of falling happens all the time. That like you just have to, I don't know, acknowledge the feeling, but then like remind yourself, like, okay, like while up there, feeling fear is not going to be helpful. So let's put it to the side because literally, if you're in this fearful, anxious state, you've messed up your nervous system, like you're all off balance. Like the thing you're afraid of, you're going to attract to you.
Yeah.
So it's like the learning process of like controlling your mind and like, yeah, just putting certain things aside and really focusing on what you do want. Learning how to delegate, learning how to communicate what you need, learning what's important, where. Because I love detail, but like, sometimes, if we do detail everywhere, we're going to be there forever. And just understanding like what's the most important things to show and articulate through the mural. And man, I'm like, what else? Just the routine and remembering to stretch and drinking enough water. Man, it was beautiful. The weather was great. Even the days when it was raining, it was beautiful. Like the mist would come down. It was so peaceful, and it was a great team of people helping too. That's important as well. The energy you have while working on a project. Yeah.
Because you already got so much going on up there. You need positive reinforcement. So for those that haven't seen Zoe Boston's piece, it's 4 stories high on the, Is it
12? It was 6. So,
is it 6?
How many levels was in the house though? Well, the scaffolding was like 6 levels.
Scaffolding was 6 levels. I think it was 4 stories, and then the hill going down to the street was like another story, and then Highway 13 is like down another story. So we were up there definitely. If you didn't want to fall, you wanted to hold on to everything that you had, including your sanity, being up that high. So yeah, I feel like even coming down the side, because there was this little sliver on the side between the 2 houses that we had to climb down just to even get up on the scaffolding.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was an adventure every day. Like you said, just routine of stretching, drinking water is like, it's not a joke. People think, like, and not to assume what people think, but a lot of people, even within my family and close friends, like, oh, you're doing what you love, and you're just having fun.
It's still work.
It's a part of it. Yes,
still work.
It's work.
Yeah.
You have fears.
Oh man.
There are, even just the fear of, I feel like every time I go to paint a mural, it's just this quick little, and it goes away fast, but it's like, do I know what I'm doing?
Yeah. No,
is this going to turn out looking right? Do you ever have those little moments?
All the time. All the time. But then, you lean on what you've previously done. And you're like, well, I could do this.
I painted flowers before.
Right.
Hold on.
Like,
I can,
Yeah.
It's just a wall of paint.
Even still, there's trial and error. Like, most of my art, like, I don't even like it halfway through. And I just have to make myself keep going. And then I love it. So it's just like a process every single time.
I'm glad you said that, because I feel like this is where most people get stuck. Artists, but then people that haven't even found that creative juice to keep creating is because the first couple of strokes that you put down on a piece of paper look like child doodles.
Yeah.
Even for people who've been doing it
Mhm.
10, 20, 30 years.
Mhm.
And you have to get over that hurdle
Exactly.
of knowing like this piece is still evolving, and I'm going to start with the skeleton, add some of the muscle,
Mhm.
then I'm going to add the flesh, but it's not going to really take life until down the road. And you have to have that insight and that confidence of
Exactly.
knowing like getting to step 5, because when you put that first pen to paper, it's not, or
Yeah.
paint to paper, it's not going to be what you want it to look like.
No, it's the process. It's like really, I mean, it sounds cliche, but it really is the process of it that you have to fall in love with.
In order to get to your
Yeah.
destination. You really
Mhm.
do, because I've wrestled with so many paintings where I'm like, that doesn't look like a mountain. That don't look like a
Right. Oh my
cloud.
gosh.
That
And
don't.
pivot, like learning how to pivot, learning how to like, trial and error.
Yeah.
Sometimes like I get calls from friends like, I don't know how to do this. How do you do it? I'm like, well, what is the goal? Well, I don't know yet. Well, you need to figure that out. There's no wrong answer. You're the artist. I can't tell you what you need to do. Like, I don't know what the vision is.
Even
You
if it's
gotta-
just learning how to paint different clouds.
Exactly.
And I feel like as an artist, as a visual learner, you have to wrestle with these things. If you just get it first time, kudos to you.
Yeah.
But
Which does
you're
happen.
which happens. But that's where you also have to challenge yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like 85% of the paintings that I have in my mind don't all the way come out looking like how they supposed to on canvas or on paper. And people will appreciate it. I can appreciate it, but I'm like, oh no, that part right there was supposed to glow. The confetti was supposed to pop out of that side right there. And the eye was supposed to beam.
Literally. Like you like it because you don't know what I know it's supposed to be. But even in that, like learning to surrender.
Yes.
Yeah. Like sometimes we get so stuck in perfection or like, making sure it looks exactly how the, initial design is that we lose the sight of what it is already. Yeah.
Yeah. Because once people recognize the symbol or the image or the flower, like the message has been conveyed. That is a hummingbird. That is abstract. That is a thought, so how refined, and that's why I love, like the Basquiat's and the, painters of the world, shout out to Shido, that, move with very big and quick strokes that are just kind of like, this is what it is. You recognize it? You don't? This is how I felt. Process.
Exactly. Also leaving room for divine. Like if you're stuck in perfection, there's no room for that piece to speak. Or I'm talking to myself too, because again, I love detail. I love to make things look exactly how, but just getting out of that and getting out of that perfectionist mindset and just like, oh, this is already great. And it's already saying what I wanted to say, even though I didn't put that extra flower in there, that extra whatever, or, I didn't dial this in, but that wasn't needed.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. So, are you performing tonight? No, you just, no? Are you coming?
Maybe. I think so.
Maybe? Okay.
Maybe.
All right. Well, that's all right. This isn't going to air for a while, so this is all going to be in hindsight. But I did want to, find a nice segue of talking about your, once again, your musical talents mixed with your visual art talent. And I felt like another one of those great moments was the Artist Gala. Yeah. Just being able to see you perform in the red, even though the mic was shit and the sound system was shit. I think there was still room for the divine, as you mentioned, to take hold and get everybody up out of their seat and sing along with you. I'm getting goosebumps even. Look at the hair just
so
raising. Oh my God.
I had the best time.
Man.
Yeah. It's funny too, because so many things like did not go right that day. Which again, you gotta leave room.
You gotta leave room for the divine. I'm gonna run with that. That is like, so important. You had mentioned surrendering, leaving room for the divine. And this isn't to say, Zoe's also a very hardworking person. She has honed her craft. She has done her thing for several years. But even within that, you still have to leave room for, creation to just unfold. And that night at the Oakland Artist Gala, shout out to Tone Oliver. My guy was there recording. I mean, like, he was a one-man army. Like, if you look at the video footage, he recorded, and I think even during your singing, there's footage of you from the front, there's backstage footage, and there's like angles from the side.
Oh, wow.
And I swear to you, I only remember Tone having one camera.
Yeah.
Tone had one camera. And I'm like, how did he get Living My Life Like It's Golden from the back and from the front at the same time? The work of Tone Oliver, Podmasters, they're amazing. But yeah, give me your input on the night. How did you feel? What was a highlight for you of that night?
Man, well, first of all, getting dressed. I love to get dressed. So any opportunity to get dressed is a great time for me. Now I create opportunities because every day is special. Man, things didn't go all the way as planned. It was, sound check was the timing of people meeting up didn't go. And then I think I was pulled away to do something art related in the middle of it, and I had to get dressed and I was running out of time. But then everything came together, and I don't know, like, being on the stage is like, there's nothing like it. Yeah. It's just like a different part of me that gets to be used and like tap into. Like, it's one thing to express certain energies or vibrations through visuals, but when you get to express them through like vocals and vibration in that way, it's just, it felt amazing. I felt so comfortable and in my element. Like, it was just like the best time. It was so much fun. Yeah.
And even just that, call and response reaction that you get from the audience immediately that you don't necessarily get from art.
Yes.
People sometimes have to look at art and, kind of like study it and figure out what's going on. But when it comes to like singing, as soon as a singer hits that first note and it's on point, you got the audience with you.
Yes.
And I felt like
that's magic too.
That night, that is exactly what happened. As soon as you hit that first note, you had the audience in your hand. They were up out of their seats and they were singing along.
Yeah. Maybe it was like unexpected. So it was just like, oh my God, wait, she does this too?
I think, for our small network, we knew that you were a singer. But I think for the greater audience, even the Oakland artist community, a lot of people didn't know. And, I saw it on somebody made a post or made a comment on one of your posts and said like how you're, and I'm paraphrasing, like just a small package, just with such big energy.
Yeah, concentrated.
And, from your style to the glasses, Tone Oliver was, mentioning the glasses earlier, to your singing, to, your art, it's just so many different dynamic aspects of just Zoe Boston that I love. Yeah.
Man, I feel like even there's like such a synergy that's created too. Like, singers know, but like when you're performing when you're performing and the audience feels that, you can feel that energy come back to you. And it makes it even grander than it was. Like, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was just magic. Like, it gives you kind of superpowers in a sense. Like, you can hit those notes you maybe couldn't hit right before you were off the stage trying to practice, So it's just, there's nothing like it. I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for who was playing with me: Quinn Montero, Jelani Noble, and oh my gosh, Amarinder Singh was on bass.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for them as well. Like, it was just great.
Yeah.
It was a great time.
It was a super amazing time. So with that being said, there's been so many projects and murals that we've been painting: 4 stories, 6 stories, 9 stories, even Steph Curry mural. You're up on that project for us.
Facing Fears.
Facing Fears.
Jeez.
112 feet up. Wait, no, it's taller than that.
It was
9 stories. Wait, 9 stories. So it's the parking
there.
deck of the YMCA, 9 stories. So you do the math.
A lot.
Yeah. It was high. But I remember, and one of the things that I'm going to take with me is that on so many of the projects working with Zoe, she loves to hum and sing. And it's almost like if you ever worked with Zoe, you're almost like humbly waiting for it like therapy,
Oh.
right? You're not going to ask her to sing, but somewhere along the process, whether she's in a happy space or whether she's in a, contemplating space, she's going to just start a little, and it's going to like develop into like a little, I won't even call it a song, but just a resignation of energy that motivates you to like keep painting and just be present. And for those that don't know as well, Zoe loves painting hummingbirds.
I do.
And she oftentimes gets visited by hummingbirds while we're painting. I'm sure while you're alone, but I've witnessed it several times where a hummingbird will just come over by Zoe and just kind of, let her know that she's there. Mm-hmm. And you're singing and you're humming when we're working 40, 90 feet up in the air is that motivating humming sound that a hummingbird. When you see a hummingbird, I don't care how messed up your day, you could be having the worst day. If you don't like hummingbirds, kill yourself.
Oh no.
Hummingbird, it's just like one of those rare sightings when you do get to see a hummingbird. Magical. It's just like an affirmation of life and creation of like, oh.
Definitely.
And I've seen it so many times. I could, I've run out of fingers in the amount of times I've seen hummingbirds just come up to you, the amount of times you've painted hummingbirds. And I just wanted to let you know that, your sound is just one of those things that has, permanently been stamped in my mind as one of my feel-good places.
Oh.
And I know you agreed to singing a little song for us today or doing, something. Are the mics, are we good for a little belting, a little? Okay, all right. Well, don't hurt them, but, just give them. What have you been working on lately in the music industry? I know you've been doing shows, San Francisco. I can't even get the tickets be sold out. I can't even get to see Zoe.
Oh my God.
My gosh.
I've been working with the collab choir a lot lately.
Shout out to the collab.
Shout out to Kapor Center. She's the director and founder, starter of the.
How many people in that collab choir?
Oh, I want to say maybe 26, 27 people. Which is also incredible. Like the synergy that happens is like, it's so good. There's so many talented, gifted singers, songwriters, producers, and we're all just working together and making magic. But we just had a show at Yerba Buena Gardens this past weekend, and we're singing at SF Jazz on the 5th of June. Nice. You should come. There's still tickets available.
I'm going to try and make it. Let me see. In June. All right.
I know.
Anything in August or September?
Not as of now. I don't think
okay.
So. Unless I'm forgetting something, which I tend to do.
No problem. I just trying to keep my calendar open. And people probably won't see this, until later. So.
Yeah. I'm also working on, I feel like I've been working on my own music for a long time, but slowly but surely working
What was that last solo project that you dropped?
Which I dropped a single.
Talk about it.
Oh man, yeah, we could talk about it.
Yeah, promote that thing.
I dropped a single in November of last year, 2023. It's called Murky Waters. Mm-hmm. And I actually been holding on to it for a little while, but it's somehow something divine happened with it where it just poured out in a way. It was a story of a hard, difficult, kind of darker time in life that I kind of just been holding and carrying because I didn't have the vocabulary to properly say what that experience was. And through that, it just poured out and like word for word, line for line, rhyme, each thing rhymed. It was just like, was this divine moment. And I held on to it for a while because I'm like, I didn't know what to do with it. Then I realized last year it was like the 5-year anniversary of that dark time. So I was like, it's time to put it out. And yeah, hopefully, the goal with it is to encourage anyone else who's been through a similar situation that they can get out of it as possible. They don't have to stay there. Yeah.
For sure.
Cool. It's available on all streaming platforms. So go listen to it.
Murky Waters?
Murky Waters. Yeah.
All
It's
right.
available everywhere.
Go get it. Tune in.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you have for us today? Do you want to? I know there's so much you shared. There was that, song that you were working on putting together with the choir.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have a piece of that, but whatever you'd like to share, please.
We performed that actually at Yerba Buena Gardens this past weekend. It was so much fun. Like, it was one of my first times I've created background vocals before, but creating them and separating them in a way to delegate and teach to each section and learn how to use vocabulary in that realm and articulate like how we want different things to go. So it turned out really beautifully, and I'm really proud of how it turned out. There's video footage somewhere, but I think we're still getting it back.
Okay.
But I could sing a little bit from that.
Come on, give us a little taste.
I haven't warmed up my voice today, but hopefully we.
Well, we'll edit out whatever you don't want on there. So you just do your thing, and we'll be here.
Okay. What key is it in? I've been feeling myself come back to me lately. Pieces on the ground. Somehow I finally found joy is all around. I hear love's perfect sound. I'm never by myself, eternally grateful for help. I found me as I came to you. I found me as I came to you. I found me as I came to you. Yeah. 'Cause you made me. And you changed me. You are my everything. You are my everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's called My Everything. And actually, I wrote that after coming out of the dark time. That I didn't think I was going to make it through, and like slowly found pieces of myself along the way. And as I really went within to connect with self and divine, I began to realize who I really was, and there's light at the end of the tunnel. And I was just in this place of gratitude.
Man,
yeah.
I don't know what other note better than to end it on that note right there. So thank you, Zoe, for just, being you and coming and sharing some of your inspiration and your sound and your art. Yeah, man. And there's so much more we have to talk about and so much more that we got to cover. But on the next episode. So want all you guys to stay tuned. We will be back with Zoe on another episode down the road. This is Andre Jamora, and you've been watching Urban Artist Talk. Thank you guys for tuning in. Talk to you soon. Peace.
Give me the paint, give me the chalk, give me the urban artist talk. Give me the paint, give me the chalk, give me the urban artist talk.